The original question was that the bill be now read a second time, since when an amendment has been proposed, as on the order paper, the question is that the amendment be made. Can I say there's many honourable members wishing to catch my eye? I'm going to reduce it to 6 minutes. Stephen Mosley.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. For those of us who have kept an eye on the Public Bodies Bill as it made its turbulent 6-month passage through the other place, I think today's second reading does come as a relief. But we now have a bill which is substantially different from that which was originally proposed, but one which has been much improved by the amendments made in the other place and supported by ministers. We now have a bill whose principles should be acceptable to all members of the House. A bill that will shine the light of accountability and transparency on many parts of the extended public sector, and a bill that would deliver huge value for money savings for the hard-pressed taxpayer. In the last 10 years, the cost of non-departmental public bodies, like much of our nation's spending, has spiralled out of control. Despite a steady reduction in the number of quangos since 1979, the cost to the public purse has almost continually increased, with annual government funding doubling to £39 billion in the years since the turn of the millennium. And this bill will allow huge savings to be made, a cumulative saving of £30 billion over the spending review period, with estimated annual savings of at least £11 billion per year by 2014-15. As has been highlighted by the Shadow Minister and in the amendment, there will be costs which occur when shedding such excessive waste, but the potential long-term benefits are so great that it is essential that the government pushes ahead to deliver the long-term efficiency and sustainability that this bill will enable. When it comes to the proposals in Schedule 5 of the bill to transfer British Waterways network in England and Wales to a new charitable trust, I'm sure that all members will join me in welcoming this section of the bill. My own constituency of the City of Chester has a certain claim to the resurgence of our nation's waterways in the 20th century, for it was in Chester that Tom Rolt, who was a founding father of the Inland Waterways Association, was born in 1910. And it's worth noting that the Inland Waterways Association have themselves been calling for a third sector model for running our nation's waterways since the middle of the last century. DEFRA's proposals to create a new waterways charity, initially from the British Waterways Board, but eventually including the Environment Agency Navigations in 2014, has been widely welcomed, but it is crucial that we get it right. Half the population lives within 5 miles of one of our canals and rivers, and 13 million people use them every year, and these days people don't just use them for boating or for angling. In Chester, we have cycleways and safe green walkways into the city centre for shoppers and for commuters. We have dog walkers and joggers, and we have the canals and waterways as a centre of economic regeneration in many of our urban areas. There will still need to be public financial support for our waterways, especially after the inclusion of the Environment Agency navigations that have less commercial opportunities than British Waterways, and DEFRA will need to ensure that this support continues in future. However, unlike many of the organisations facing change, these proposals have been widely welcomed by British Waterways themselves, who state that by moving to a civil society organisation, British Waterways aims to increase the level of public and volunteer participation in the waterways and widen the network's supporter base. A sentiment and a proposal that I'm sure we can all support. Mr Deputy Speaker, accountability and value for money are central to all areas of public service, and that being so, I'm heartened by the proposals in the bill to formally abolish the regional development agencies. In budgetary terms, my own North West Development Regional Development Agency is the largest RDA outside London. In 2008-09, its budget was £421 million, and as of May last year, it employed 481 members of staff. Yet, despite its huge budget and complement of staff, private enterprise in the North West has suffered proportionately more as a result of the recession than other areas of the UK.
Would he not accept that the whole Deeside Hub area, which obviously covers his own seat and indeed mine, is one of the most vibrant and growing manufacturing areas in the whole country, and we have to build on that and not undermine that?
I would totally agree, but one of the problems with the RDA is that it does stop at the border of England and hasn't actually looked over the border. And we have got to a situation where there's almost a wall between Chester and North Wales. And I'm hoping that with the LEPs we will have more local interaction and that sort of thing will be improved upon. We now have a situation that as a result of the North West has suffered proportionately more as a result of the recession than other regions of the UK and has seen the largest net decline in private enterprises in the country. Many of the very private enterprises that should be powering the region forwards have simply shut up shop. Not a great success story for our Regional Development Agency and not something I've seen splashed up across one of their expensively produced glossy magazines which seem to focus more on what they've spent rather than what they've actually achieved. Business does sometimes need support, especially at its initial start-up phase, but the remote, bureaucratic regional development agency model is not the most productive way to do it, and the replacement of the RDAs by local enterprise partnerships, local accountable and business-led organisations is to be greatly welcomed. I wholeheartedly welcome the proposals set out in this bill, but one area that I would like to seek reassurance on from the Minister is in relation to the proposed triennial review process of remaining public bodies. The Public Administration Select Committee made detailed criticisms of the 5-yearly review process that existed until 2002, and I would welcome an opportunity to examine the new triennial process and the criteria against which public bodies will be evaluated in future. As I have said before, I am enthusiastically supportive of this bill, a continuation of the government's relentless approach to localism, accountability, transparency and efficiency, and I hope that all honourable and right honourable members will support the principles that lie at the heart of this bill.
Susan Ellen-Jones.